Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here for review another Onoto pen, and this is a pen that's on loan to me from Gary Dapperman from our UK South Pen Club and also our London Pen Club. So this is an Onoto. This is a pen that he bought quite recently. This was in, I believe, March 2019. So let me lift the lid off here. You have this cardboard box, and then you have a number of things inside here. So you have these Onoto pen blotters, which I kind of like the idea of. These are quite nice, and you've seen these on the other two Onoto pens that I have reviewed. And then you have an old advert here from Onoto, the pen, the original advert, and this was from Punch, April 28th, 1920. And then you have this Onoto booklet, and this just shows a few of the pens, describes the then and the now. And then you get this lovely Burwood box. Now, some of the Onoto boxes have a cutout flap here. This one does not, so I will need to turn it upside down to remove the box. And you'll see here, if I remove this outer packing there, that you get this lovely, stunning Burwood box there. This is really, really nice. You can see here it has felt on the base, and then you have the hinge there. It's actually quite a nice, substantial, weighty box, and I do like these boxes from Onoto. So if I open it up, first thing that you'll see here is a certificate of authenticity, and it was purchased there on the 10th of March 2019, and it's the Magna Classic Burgundy Pearl Gold pattern, and this is the prototype version. So this was a pen that Gary picked up at the, I believe it was the London Pen Show, or close to the London Pen Show. It really is a nice pen. It comes in this red felt sleeve, and removing the pen, you can see the pen there. Now, before we get to the pen, let me remove the tray. There's a few extras that you get in here. You get an Onoto card, and it basically says that with eternal pride, we entrust this Onoto pen to your custodianship. Custodianship lasts a lifetime, and that's why we offer a lifetime guarantee on all our pens. Activate your guarantee within 30 days by visiting onoto.com/custodian. So the beauty of it is that you do get a lifetime warranty for at least the length of time that Onoto are around. I don't know if that will be 50 years or 100 years or more, but at least it's good to know. A lot of modern day manufacturers are now giving lifetime warranties with their pens. And there's also this care booklet as well, how to care for your fountain pen, and it just shows fountain pen. It describes general care, maintenance of your Onoto pen, the nibs, and the ink filling system. And then you get a polishing cloth as well, or a pen polishing cleaning cloth. So it's a anti-tarnishing cloth, so you can polish the gold trims and that, or even the silver trims on your pens. So that's the pen. This is the Onoto, and it's a Magna Classic Burgundy Pearl Gold pattern. So let me show you this pen in a little bit more detail here. So this is the pen, and this is one of the Onoto pens that I do like the look of a lot, and it's definitely one that I've had my eye on as well. What you can see here is the cap finial. Now this actually spells Onoto, so the outer ring is the O, and then the N, the O, and a cross here for a T, and another an O. So Onoto. You have this gold clip, or gold plated clip, and then you have the three cap bands here. Now the pen does taper down a little bit here, as you can see. Now it does have this chased effect going on here, and this really is quite spectacular, especially with the pearl red that's going on here as well on the pen. Now there are a few marks here on the gold, and I'm just seeing if that comes off. It looks as though it may be that's slightly chipped there on the clip there from what Gary has had. It may be from use, or it may have been done in production, I'm not sure. And then you have the Onoto pen here, made in England. And I do like the way that this sort of chasing is done. The only thing that I don't like, obviously, is a blank area here. You can have your name engraved if you want to, but if you don't want your name engraved, then it is left blank, and I think that's a little bit of a shame. I'm not too sure how many people really go for name engravings on pens anymore. I know I don't. And then you have the end finial here on the body, but it is a really nice pen, and you can see here that pearl effect that's going on is very, very, very lovely. So for me, this is a pen that I've been looking at for a while. Now it does have a number size 7 nib, which is a nib that Onoto tend to go with, not a number 6, not a number 8. And this is an 18 karat gold nib. Now this is the fine nib that you can see, a very fine F on it. And it comes with a plastic or ABS feed. You have a section here which is quite small. Now in terms of size in my hand, it's not a bad size. I can, if I want to, post the cap, and I can do so, but it becomes a little bit long at that point, and a little bit more back weighted, I should say, as well. Now the filling system on this pen, you'll see, is just a standard cartridge converter, and it's just a push. It's not a threaded converter, but that doesn't bother me in any shape or form. It's actually a really nice material. I like this much better than the black version on the plunger filler that I reviewed. I think the chasing material just makes it look nice, especially on that sort of pearl or pearlescent body there. The only downside is that sometimes it's better to have the section follow through with the colour of the pen. This one does not, so it is black. But on the flip side of the coin, it does hide any ink stains. So even if you were to get the section staining at any point, which you shouldn't do, then at least you won't see it so much on a black section there. But this, for me, is actually quite a nice pen. So I think what we'll do a size and weight check, and then we'll fill the pen up and we'll do a writing sample. So in terms of the length, we are looking at around about 138 millimeters long for the full body, including the cap, and then the cap we're looking at around about 67 millimeters long, and then the body of the pen from the tip of the tines or the nib, we're looking at around about 123 millimeters. So it is actually a shorter pen that normally I would normally go for. It's still not too short in my hand here. Like, it will rest quite nicely in the crook of my hand, but you can post the cap if you really want to and make it longer. This might actually be a pen, like typically if I have a pen that's around about 120 millimeters in length, I do tend to post the cap a little bit more. This does actually make the cap a little bit more back weighted because of this clip, and this is a silver clip. I believe it's gold plated. And then you can see here also, if I try to zoom in, you'll see some of the hallmarks here on the cap that you can see there as well. And then the nib itself that you can obviously see here is an 18 karat gold, and it's a fine nib. Now, personally, I don't normally go with fine nibs. I prefer either a medium or a broad most of the time, but this is not my pen. This is Gary's pen, and Gary typically likes fine nibs. One thing that does irritate me a little bit is the clip does not align to the Onoto, the pen here. Now, it's possible that you might be able to rotate that clip. I think it's on there quite strong. I'm not going to try and do this because it isn't my pen. And then I guess the only other thing is that the chasing stops before it gets to the end. And I think the reason for that is that it's a lot more difficult to chase the tapering end here of the, because this is not a screwed in, this is an integral part of the body. But this is a material that I do like a lot, so I do have to say that if I am to buy an Onoto, I think it probably would be this pen, or a pen that is very similar. There's a few like this in different colours. So for me, this really is a nice looking pen. So let's do a weight check, and then we'll ink it up, and then we'll do a writing sample. So the weight uninked, we're looking at just over 25.5 grams. The cap, we are looking at just under 13 grams. And then the pen uninked, we're looking at just around 9.25 grams. So this is actually quite a lightweight pen. So for me, I tend to like more weightier pens. Now, I did say that this is a cartridge converter. Now, you can on these pens add a brass barrel to them for an extra cost. This one doesn't have it. To be honest, if I were to buy this pen, I probably would do that because I do like the more weightier pens. I don't like very, very lightweight pens. And this is a very lightweight pen for me. I think I'd want to add probably another 10, 15, 20 grams. I think it's 20 grams Onoto add when they put the brass cylinder inside it. But I think let's ink this up now. So the ink I'm going to use here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which is a lovely red. It's a red that I do like a lot. And it comes in these lovely Mont Blanc shoe bottles. So let's ink the pen up. So we have this, you can see here, this beautiful red, and I think this will actually match the colour of the pen, that lovely pearl. Now, I'm not going to ink it up fully, I'm just going to put a little bit of ink in there, about half a converter, and just wipe off the nib in the section there. So that actually isn't too bad. And then put the cap back on. So this is the Onoto, and it is the Magna Classic, and it's the Burgundy Pearl, and it's with the gold pattern, or basically the chasing. Now, this comes with an 18 karat gold number 7 Onoto nib. Now, It is a fine nib, and I don't typically like fine nibs. The reason being is a lot of time I don't find them very wet. This is a very wet nib, but I do find with fine nibs that they tend to be more scratchy or more feedbacky, more catchy. And this is something that I'm finding with this nib. So I would much prefer having this in either a medium or a broad nib. And I've tried the 18 karat gold medium nibs from Onoto, and they are really nice. So for me, I'm just not a fan of these fine nibs. So in terms of wetness test, let's have a look. You can see that ink is pretty wet. It's a pretty wet writing nib. And this is an A4 width page or pad. So for me, this is pretty wet. Now, in terms of line variation, it's a gold nib. It's a fine nib. You're not going to get too much of a line variation. I'm not going to push this nib that hard because this is not my pen. But you can get a little bit of line variation, but it's not a lot, typically. But I do find that this nib, for me, is a little bit on, I'd like to say, toothy side. Like, you have to be very spot on with it. Like if I write with it writing more on the left tine, it's actually good. If I write with it more on the right tine, it's actually more scratchy. So I don't know if Gary has done anything to this nib, if he's smoothed the nib out. But for me, if it was my pen, I would probably smooth the nib out just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more rounded pen or a rounded writer. But in terms of writing, it's actually quite quick. It doesn't skip at all. So ink flow on this pen is very good. It's a very wet nib, as you can see here. Very wet nib. So I think the nib is pretty well tuned. But like I say here, there's more feedback on this nib, especially more on the right tine, more than I typically would like myself. But that's easily correctable with a little bit of micro mesh. Or if you're buying this direct from Onoto, I'm sure they can do that for you. You can test the nib as well, especially if you were to buy it at, say, one of the UK pen shows. But for me, this is actually quite a nice pen. This is probably an Onoto pen that I would buy. I'll show you the price below here for the pen. This is typically what the pen sells at. Is it overpriced? It comes with an 18 karat gold nib. I think these are really good pens. I do like the Onoto pens a lot. I know a lot of people do say that for a more expensive pen that you should be getting a better filling system with it. On some of these you can actually get the Magna plunger filler on them, but for me, I actually prefer cartridge converters because they're a lot easier to clean and a lot easier to maintain. So there you go, that's the review of the Onoto Magna Classic in the Burgundy Pearl. Thanks for watching, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.